What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Fish Aquatics. Today I'm going to be building the top and bottom framework for my DIY aquarium. So all the supplies for this build are going to be out in my kitchen. They're set up on my table right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go out there. I'm going to show you everything that you guys are going to need, explain to you a little bit about what each part's going to do, and then we're going to build it. So let's get out there and I'll show you guys what all you need. Alright guys, so building the framework for this kind of aquarium is very, very easy. Technically you don't even have to do it. I'm doing it just because I like the way that a frame tank looks. So this is basically just for my appeal rather than necessity. What you do need for an aquarium like this, the first thing I want to talk about is a foam pad to put under the aquarium. Traditional aquariums come with black framework around them or wood colored framework. And basically what that framework does is it absorbs any of the irregularities that might be in your stand, and essentially the foam that you would put under this does the same thing. Now personally what I would use for a situation like this is this kind of foam right here. You can go to Walmart and get this. This is a camping pad. It's about a ½ inch thick. As you can see here, we got a whole roll of it. You just cut off a section that's the same size as the bottom of your aquarium, lay it down wherever you're going to put your aquarium, set your aquarium on top of this, and this is going to absorb any of the irregularities on whatever surface you're putting your aquarium on, and that's going to prevent pressure points from being put on the glass and prevent the tank from breaking. So with a rimless aquarium like this, if you're going to build one, this is an absolute necessity. It doesn't necessarily have to be this, but you can do different kind of pads. They got yoga mats, they've got pads specifically sold for this. This is what I use because it's cheap and it's essentially the same exact thing. So a whole roll of this at Walmart's like $8. So that's what I'm using for that. That's going to go under the aquarium. Technically that's all you need, but I'm going to make this a little bit fancier and show you guys how to do it. So basic supplies that you need to do this. I already have my aquarium, and this piece of plywood back here, it's 5/8 plywood. That is going to be the base. So that's essentially going to get cut out the same size as the base of the aquarium. And then the framework that's going to go around that is just going to be this trim right here. I'm going to cut this to fit. I saw this pattern and I liked it. If you can see that there. And I'm not going to stain or anything with these. I'm just going to clear coat. So once I get the base built, I cut the foam, lay the foam in there, and set the tank in it. The clear coat that I'm using is just going to be this Krylon. Is it Krylon? Yeah, Krylon clear coat. It says it works with wood. I like natural wood coloring, so I'm just going to go with that. We'll paint clear coat that, and I'm going to be attaching this to the plywood with screws and wood glue. Normally for something like this you would want to use finishing nails. I like screws a little bit better because they're going to be able to hold on a little stronger, and the screws are also going to act as the clamp for using wood glue. This is just tight bond wood glue, so I'm going to use a little bit of that in between this and the plywood to help bond that together so it's a more permanent seal, as well as some small screws. Right? They don't have a very large head on them, so they're not going to be overly visible. You're still going to be able to see them, but that doesn't really bother me. I kind of enjoy the look of a brass screw. So that's basically, and then the top frame, I found these. This is very little trim, and I'm going to show you what this is going to look like. So this is a piece of glass off of the aquarium. This is one of the throwaway pieces, and essentially, if I can get that to sit there properly, the glass is going to sit there like that. That trim's going to overhang it, and that's what it will look like. Right? So nothing critical. It's just, you know, for decoration for the most part, but that's what we're going to have. It fits the glass perfectly, and that's going to get siliconed in place. So that's why I have the silicone here. As far as tools, the only tools that you're really going to need for this is going to be a square, a straight edge, which I have a ruler, my drill, and a circular saw, right, or a table saw or something like that, something to cut the plywood. You could always take these pieces of wood somewhere, Home Depot, Lowe's, and have them cut your angles and lengths and sizes and everything. They can totally do that for you. I personally choose to do it myself because I have all the tools. So if you guys don't have the tools, don't worry, you can get the stuff cut at hardware stores. They're more than happy to do it for you. But aside from that, this is basically what I'm going to use. So let's get building it. Alright guys, so basically the first step that we're going to do here is we need to take the aquarium and set it on the plywood to trace out the base so that we can get it as close as we can to the base of the aquarium so that this thing fits on it perfectly. So basically, you just take the plywood, put the aquarium on top of it, trace it out. So that's what we're going to do here. You just want to line up all your edges. Make sure it's nice and flush. That looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace a line around the aquarium. And then we can go outside and we'll be able to make our cut from there. Okay. Alright, so my garage is a little bit crowded right now because I got two 55 gallons, a 36, a 300, and a 125 in here. And my normal workbench, which is right here, has the 125 gallon on it. So I'm just going to use these tires that I have stacked right here as my workspace for right now. And basically I'm just going to go and cut this out, and then we'll take it back inside, make sure I cut it properly. And then we're going to go and we're going to get our measurements so that we can cut our trim pieces both for the bottom and the top. And then we'll come back out, we'll cut those with the chop saw, and then we can start the build process. Now for the build process, we basically just have to clear coat all the wood pieces once they're cut to size. Once the clear coat dries, then we can take it and assemble everything, and it's pretty much done. It's that easy, it's very simple. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start cutting these out. And then we can go back inside, get our measurements, come back out and cut the rest of the wood. So here we go. Alright guys, so as you can see, the plywood's cut. It fixed the base of this tank perfectly. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get the trim and we're going to measure the pieces so that we can go outside and cut them on the chop saw, get nice clean 45-degree angles on the corners so everything comes together pretty clean. We're going to make the measurements, make the marks, and we'll go out and cut the wood. So basically all you do is you take your wood, you line it up, and then about an inch in from the end, you just go ahead and you make a mark right here on the wood, like so. And then that's going to be your mark to cut your 45 degrees. And then as long as that mark is still lined up right on the very corner there, you can then go ahead and just come over here and make a mark like that. And then you can just cut your 45s, and then that piece will line up here perfectly. Alright guys, so you're obviously not going to be able to see my face because of the quarters that we're working in here. Because I can't get low enough to the ground and show you guys what I'm working on. So basically what we need to do, this is a compound miter saw, and I can adjust the angle to cut degrees this way so I can cut angles across the board, and I can also adjust the head of the saw so that I can cut angles through the board this way. So what I'm going to do now is, right now we're sitting at 0 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut 45 degrees. So you can just go to the saw here, loosen this up, bring it down to 45 degrees, tighten it back up, and then I'll be able to cut my 45 degree angles using the saw. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut all of these. I'm going to speed up the video, that way we're not sitting here for 20 minutes watching me cut these. But you'll get the idea of what's going on. So here we go. Alright, so just so you guys can see, the saw's a little dull, so that's why you got little burn marks on the wood here, so I need a new blade. But as you can see, we got a nice 45 degree angle cut on the wood there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut the rest of these, and then we'll clean these edges up a little bit right here. Get those little wood burrs off of there. Alright, so I apologize for being right here in front of you guys, but this wood is very small, so I want to try and be as close as I can to show you guys how to get your measurements for this. It's basically the same as the bottom. You just line it up on the top up here, get it set to where you want it, and then put your marks either on the top here or on the bottom down here. So that you can get your spots to where you need to cut it at 45 degree angles. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So for me, I'm going to mark it back here, if I can see it. So there's my mark there. We'll do the same thing over here. And that's it. That's basically how you get your marks. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to mark all these ones to match sides, and then we are going to go outside and cut these at 45 degree angles. Alright guys, so I want to show you something. I just realized after I cut these, I messed up. So I'll own up and I'll admit to it. So basically what I did is I laid these down and cut them at 45 degree angles this way, the same exact way I did the bottom panels. And that's not how these need to get cut. So if you can see, it's like heart shaped there. I cut it this way, 45 degree angles back. You can see the cut that way, and that's not the way that's supposed to be cut. So basically when you put these together on the glass, you're going to have a big hole right there. Right? Let me see if I can zoom in to show you guys that. See the big hole there on the corner? You can see the glass. So what I did wrong is I laid them down and cut them that way at 45 degrees, but instead of laying them down so they were that way, I need to hold them this way and cut at 45 degrees so that the corners butt together. So I'm going to go back out and fix these. Luckily, whenever I do a project like this, I always buy one extra just in case. So I'm going to be able to trim these longer ones down for the shorter sides, and then I'll be able to trim this one for the short side, or for the longer sides, and that'll fix it. Alright guys, so basically what I'm doing right now, I've already done these 3 sides. I'm drilling pilot holes and inserting screws to assure fitment. So I've already done these 3 sides. This is the final piece. This one just goes in place right here, like so. Right? And all I'm doing is I need to put 4 screws in this side. I've got 3 on the shorter sides, 4 on the longer sides. So I'm going to put 4 in here. So basically I'm just going to put 2 here and 2 here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drill the 2 outer pilots, put screws in that, drill the 2 inner ones, put screws in that, and then we're going to take it back apart once I'm assured that fitment is good, and we're going to put a small bead of wood glue on it and then put it back together. That way everything is held in place as tightly as possible. Alright, so essentially this is what it looks like. You can see the 4 screw holes there. It's got a nice clear coat on this wood, so it's nice and protected. If there was any water to get on it, it's not going to ruin the wood. See the 3 screws on the sides. But all in all, that's what that's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and fit the tank in here, make sure it still fits. Once it fits, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take these back off. We're going to apply a small bead of wood glue, put everything back together. I can then cut the foam, put a layer of foam in here, put the tank in here, and the top trim is outside drying right now, so then we'll be able to go get that and put that on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. So something I might have to do is just reattach this side after the tank is in here, because trying to get it to fit in squarely, it is extremely close. So that might be something I have to do. Alright, so with that being the case, where I'm going to have to pull this side off to get the tank in here to put it back together because of how tight the fit is, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the foam to make sure that I can get that in here and make sure that fits. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to time-lapse me pulling these off and putting the wood glue on with putting the tank back in here and everything. And yeah, at that point, it'll all go together and then we can get the top on. Okay. So there's the foam. Bring this down and I'll show you guys the fitment of how this is going to work. So it actually works out perfectly that this piece of foam is the exact size. That's basically how that foam sits in there. The tank will push all the air out of it. So now we're going to go and we're going to pull these off and we're going to put some wood glue on them, put it back together. time lapse of me playing with this. So the fit and finish on this thing is pretty good. I did have to modify the one board back here a little bit. The glass pane, like I said in the last video, when I built the tank, sticks out a little bit further because of the way that the glass broke. So I did have to notch the board just a little bit to get it to clear so that everything would go together, which is why it wouldn't just drop in before. So not a big deal. Tank's in, the foam pad's in there. So once you fill this up with water, all that pressure will go on that foam pad. It'll be nice even pressure across the bottom, so that will be good. The next thing is I'm waiting for the clear coat to dry on these pieces before I can put the silicone around the top of the tank and attach those to the tank itself. So once they are dry, we'll come back and I'll do the video portion of me putting those on, and then that will be it. The tank will be done, finished being built, and then I can surprise my wife with it because I'm going to be giving this to her, and she does not know that. So I'm just going to wait for these to dry, and then we'll come back, put these on, and then yeah, that'll be it. Alright guys, so the trim pieces here have fully dried with the clear coat on them. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to apply a small bead of silicone in here, adhere them to the tank, and then we're going to let this cure, and then once everything's cured up, I'm going to reveal it to my wife. She just got home from work. I had this hidden. She said, "What'd you do all night?" I'm like, nothing. So she's upstairs. She has no idea I'm working on this. She's with my daughter right now, so I'm going to quick finish it up, bring her down, reveal it to her, and then that'll be pretty much the end of the video. So we'll go ahead and we'll start running silicone here. Done. I haven't gone around and cleaned up the silicone or anything on it yet. I'm gonna have to wait for that for tomorrow so I can get it all cleaned up and make it looking good. I did wipe down the glass to clear the glass up, get all the handprints and stuff off of it, but it is ready to roll for the most part. So I'm gonna go upstairs and get my wife now. She has no idea that this is done or that it's for her, so I'm gonna go get her. For you.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Don't make me cry. Did you carve this? Then I can't accept it. Of course. Oh, thank you. Oh my god, this is so pretty. Is it gonna leak?
Shouldn't. I hope not.
With your treatment. Oh my gosh. I gotta run! Oh, she just wiped her face.
She's alright.
Are you okay?
She's fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta chase our daughter.
Alright.
Come on. Go upstairs, you go to bed. Come on.
Alright guys, so as you can see, my wife really enjoyed this. She's really happy with the tank. I'm happy with the way it came out. So after talking with her a little bit, she is probably going to use this as a betta tank. And she's going to set it up with a male betta. This is tentatively a male betta with a tropical school of something. And some panda cories. I don't know if that's going to hold true. We will see. It all depends on what she wants because this is her tank now. Yeah, hopefully we get some good use out of this tank. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me finish the build on this thing. I know it took a couple days for me to get all the supplies and everything for it, but thank you guys for watching Trapfish Aquatics, and I'll see you guys in the next video.